let's continue on Clark Kent as we have and do the cool berms in the A-frame. We'll come back and do milk and cookies right after. Then it's time for the bike check. On to milk and cookies. This is a nice rock roll and a root or stump. Ooh, this is fun. That's a cool little feature. All right, let's find a nice spot to set up and do my final bike check. So I picked Fire Escape here to do the final bike check on the Trek Fuel EX8. As I said on Clark Kent there, this will probably be the final bike check on this bike. I think I've maxed out most of what I can do to it to make it how I want it before eventually just upgrading the entire system itself. So the last bike check I did, this was still on the 2x10 system. It was a rigid seat post and it was 120 up front, 120 in the rear. As well as I believe the stem was like 50 or maybe 80 millimeters. I don't remember 100% right now. But let's start with some of the first upgrades we did to this. First major upgrade to this bike was the 1x12 drivetrain. I switched to an NX cassette, NX derailleur, and the NX shifter up front. And over here I mated it with a 32 tooth narrow wide race face chainring. This by far has been one of my favorite upgrades. It's tied actually for number one. It's made climbing so much easier. It's made everything much simpler. It's cleaned up the cockpit. I just love it. Next upgrade I'll mention is the dropper post. We put a race face effect 125mm drop post on here. That is my favorite upgrade. That has shown me that I can do so much more than I used to be able to with that seat post tucked out of the way, taking the berms a little harder, learning how to jump. It's just been a game changer for me. So probably my number one upgrade. If you're gonna do an upgrade, dropper post. Next up was the stem. I got the Fun Strippa stem, 35mm, the anodized red, so you can match the rest of the bike. It's allowed me to control the bike a little better and be a little less twitchy on some of those descents. An upgrade that I'm gonna have to do is a new remote lever. This race face one is janky as hell. I don't like it. We're gonna have to redo this, but that's okay. Last major upgrade was the fork. When I took the bike to Kepik a few months ago, I was still on the Fox 32 with 120 mils travel. And it felt like a noodle, like it was gonna snap under me. So I went with the 34 with the thicker stanchions. It's got the Kashima coating on the stanchions as well. And I replaced the graphics with the slick graphics with the Canadian camo, sort of customized it a little bit. And we upped the travel to 140, which in my opinion is the max I would put this to, given the geometry of it and the rear travel. The only other thing I'd like to do this winter now is replace the air spring and reduce the travel to 130, so I have a 130, 120 balance, and I'll likely keep this bike all through the next season as well. Really get in touch with this thing. 2015 Fuel EX8 that I own. This will probably be the final bike check on this bike, even though we're gonna do a couple more things to it. This will be the last time we go over all the parts in detail. But now it's time to ride. I just finished up over on Clark Kent and Milk and Cookies and came through the attic and all that. And now I'm out here at Fire Escape, which is my new favorite line going down to the lake. So we're gonna rip that and then head back out because it's gonna be time for me to pick up my daughter from a birthday party. Let's hit up Fire Escape. I love this because it kind of feels like a miniature white line. There's a bit of a ridge here you gotta roll along. And it actually is kind of white. Another ridge up here. There's a couple of alternates that you can take. You can go down the drop there on the left and go to this really fun rock roll over here on the right, which I prefer. All right, so what you didn't see back there, going attic, but heading up this way, I hit one of the rocks really hard after a poor line choice, and slashed my rear tire for the third time. I didn't have my plug kit. I was swap out a tube and get sealant everywhere. But with that, I also broke his boat. Again, my wheels had true. So we're just gonna limp it and call this a day. Head back to the truck. Thank you guys for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed the bike check and the little bit of riding we did. Until next time, you know what to do. Ride on.